Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
What it is.
What it is, cuh.
It's your boy D-Swizz, Slim Tone.
Slim Tone.
Hey, how's Gay Podcast?
We're back.
We're back and better than ever. We're back again. This is another return podcast.
Yeah, we've been having some issues getting into the studio, like we said before. It's at an all-time high of problems right now, trying to get in here, so...
Like you know what? We're here for you.
Yeah, we are.
And we've done more things for you.
Yes, we have.
I have a very exciting announcement.
Tell them, Dom.
We are live on a merch store on Teespring, teespring.com/HellsGatePodcast, where you can order t-shirts and other stuff. So check it out.
Yes, right now.
Yes, follow us on all our socials as well.
Obviously.
You know, Hell's Gate Podcast and everything, except for Twitter, Snapchat, which is Hell's Gate PC. We also are now on Spotify, and we are on iTunes.
Yes, we are.
So check us out there. If you're not listening to us there already, that's where we're at.
So go right now. If you're on SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever the hell you're on, get out of it. Go right to Apple Music or Spotify. Turn us on.
Actually, just open up like several tabs on your computer and just run us on everything.
Everything, literally. Yeah.
All right. Well.
So I thought there's no better way to get back into this than to talk about my all-time favorite team, the Los Angeles Lakers. Dom, are the Lakers going to make the playoffs?
I mean, yeah.
You think? Why?
Well,
because I agree, but it's a stretch, and I admit it's a stretch, and I admit 100% I'm biased because I love the Lakers and I love LeBron James. So I'm biased, but go ahead. What's your reason?
They have this secret weapon that has not yet been unleashed fully, and his name is LeBron James. All right, I don't know if you've known this or not, but LeBron James is a very good basketball player.
Yeah, he's up there.
And I'm just saying, he's going to drag them to the playoffs. They're not going to miss the playoffs. If they do, LeBron will never, ever be called the GOAT on this podcast ever again. If he misses the play. No, it's on this podcast. No one will call him the GOAT in my presence.
I think it's somewhat justifiable, all right, because I've the last few games I've watched LeBron, like he looks like himself, obviously. He's the best player in the world. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. I don't care about people have been like, "Oh, he's not the best player in the world right now," blah 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 blah. I was like, "Dude, come on."
False.
I don't think he's 100% healthy, and I think that's what it comes down to currently. I mean, I've watched him play. He still goes out there and dominates. He had like 33 points last game. I think he had like 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Like for a guy who's not 100%, because I can tell, I've watched LeBron my entire life. I don't think he's 100%. He looks like 80, 90%. I don't think he's 100%. So that's reason one. Reason two, a lot of people underestimate how goddamn important Lonzo Ball is to their team.
I was just about to say that.
Defensively, they are absolutely horrible without him, and I don't know why, but they're horrible. Anyways, let's look at the standings here. Okay, so the Clippers currently are sitting at 34 and 29 at the 8th seed, obviously. They have the Kings at 9th, 31 and 30. The Lakers are 30 and 31, so they're roughly 3 games out.
Yeah, it's nothing. That's nothing. Without Lonzo?
I mean, I think they will because I think the Clippers getting rid of everybody, trading Tobias to the Sixers and all that.
For sure.
I think they'll drop. And I mean, so pretty much I just think it'll be a competition between us and the Sacramento Kings, and I'm going to take the Lakers every time out of that.
Over the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's the Kings' year. Maybe they put the Lakers to the playoffs, dude.
Maybe.
Like, revenge.
That'd be crazy.
Damn.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go and say that the Lakers will make it. They just, the last few times I've watched them, like the defense is so bad, and I don't understand because, like, a month into the season, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong on the number here, but I'm pretty sure they were like the 6th best defensive team in the NBA. They were not good offensively, which people expected at first because you definitely have to adjust your game to play with LeBron James. There's no doubt about that.
And not even that. Their team is built differently than any team LeBron James has ever been on in his life.
Oh, yeah. All these guys, like Kuzma can obviously shoot, but not consistently. Ingram also the same, can shoot. But those guys, his bread and butter is getting to the rim. They are a paint-scoring team, and in today's NBA, it's tough.
They're all playmakers when it comes down to it. I mean, you look at Lance Stevenson, LeBron, Lonzo, Rondo, like the entire team. Ingram.
Yeah.
They're
Kuzma
all
even at sometimes.
Yes, they're all playmakers at heart. That's like, what is that, like 4 or 5 guys that are just natural playmakers like that?
Yeah.
Like
And sometimes
It's super important.
Yeah,
it's like he has to adjust to that. Not only does the team have to adjust to LeBron being there, but LeBron has to adjust to the team, and that just takes some time.
Yeah, and like I said, I rarely have any criticism on LeBron James, but like I think it's partly I don't get these people who are saying the whole thing is LeBron's fault. Him going to the Lakers is the reason why they're not good. Like, I don't want to hear that crap.
I mean, yeah,
they're not a playoff team without LeBron James. I'm sorry.
They're partially right though, Tony. That is the reason that they're not doing well. They would be like, I think they would be doing about the same either way. But I'm just saying, like, it's important to acknowledge the fact that LeBron does have a big effect on a locker room, and obviously when you have young leaders, they're trying to, and especially like a young leader like Lonzo. He can really adapt to anything, in my opinion. But Lonzo he was like the franchise guy, like him and Kuz and Ingram. And now they're not. Now they're taking a backseat to LeBron. So,
but with that being said, I think, like, if you think about the long run, because it's LeBron, he's only got maybe like 5 more good years to him, 4 more good years.
Yeah.
But I think, like, in like a year or two, if they like develop this team, obviously I think they're going to get more pieces and some of these young guys might go. But I think this formula could end up becoming a championship, which I think under any circumstances, it doesn't matter. Because, I mean, Lonzo, Ingram, and Kuzma, they would have, I think at best, they're all really good players. I've talked about them high praise all the time. But I think their ceiling with those 3 is like the top of the franchise is not even close to a championship. Like, not even close. So I think getting LeBron there, obviously maybe your first season, because of how the team is made up, could be bad, like how it has been right now. But I think in the long run, getting LeBron is way better than you could ever imagine, because it could end up being a championship. You're not winning a championship with this team without LeBron James.
You're right, but I definitely think that I for sure think that bringing LeBron in is going to result in a championship for the Lakers.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's going to be from his. I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to be from his play. I think it's going to be from the things he teaches the young guys, and when they eventually take over, and the greatness that kind of just surrounds LeBron, and like it just, the electrons rub off on these guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I really genuinely believe that it will result in a championship.
Yeah.
But it's going to have to be the young guys picking up the slack, because LeBron is not LeBron defensively anymore.
No, he's not. That's what I was about to get to.
You know, even scoring-wise, he's not really. His three-point has fallen way off from what it's been in recent years.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of change going on for LeBron right now, and I think that the young guys have to pick up the slack. Namely, like Ingram. Ingram is really underperformed, in my opinion, and
the last few games, though,
he's like that though. He's kind of streaky. Like he'll have a stretch of very bad games, a stretch of good games.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of like Lonzo's like that too, but to a lesser extent. His defense is always good.
Yeah,
his passing is always top notch. You know.
See, here's the thing with LeBron too that people don't understand is that a lot of people, like Lakers fans, even that I see all over social media, they're like, LeBron is declining their development. These 3 guys, but let me tell you what, when LeBron either leaves the Lakers or whatever, retires, go look at Ingram, Kuzma, I don't want to say Ball, but even Ball, look at how good that they're probably about to be. Like, yeah, they don't look as good right now because they're playing with someone as high caliber as LeBron James, but just wait until they're on like their own team, running a team. Like, these guys are going to be perennial all-stars potentially because of LeBron James's knowledge and his wisdom that they're seeing every single day. People don't understand that because of the numbers. Like Kuzma, like all their numbers have even risen, honestly. But I mean, people expected, not Lonzo, but Ingram and Kuzma's numbers have risen. But people expected like an even higher jump. But that hasn't come because of LeBron James. But that's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion, because I think in the long run,
it's
these
better
guys
in the
are
long
going to
run.
be exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even think about like Josh Hart. Like Josh Hart is the perfect, like LeBron James.
Yeah, but
he's
like fell off of the face of the earth.
He's a young guy. He can only get better from here.
Yeah, I hope.
Like unless he gets injured, obviously he loses the athleticism and maybe the defense, which is a big thing for him. But I mean, offensively, he can only really get better from here. And I think that LeBron's effect on Lonzo, particularly, like LeBron is a top 10 player all time in assist numbers.
Yeah,
he just reached that, which is a great milestone for LeBron. But it's more important that obviously Lonzo's a prolific passer. Like he's a generational passer. I think that part is undisputable. Whether you want to extend that to him being a generational player or not, that's very much up for debate. But he's definitely a prolific passer, and LeBron is the king of prolific passing. Like he is like the brains of the NBA, like in general. He's just like the smartest guy ever.
He's the first player to be top 10 in scoring and assists. So what does that tell you?
Right. I mean, think about what that's going to do
he's
for
a
Lonzo.
small forward. That's like unheard of.
That's crazy. Like it's not quite unheard of, but it's on that level.
On that
absolutely.
level, yeah. Well, yeah, there was magic, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he played point guard.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Of that size. But yeah, like people I think are overestimating like LeBron's like slight decline right now because like I said, I don't think he's 100%. And even the way he's looked, I think it's just the defense. Like his shot has fallen a little bit, obviously, but he's still playing at an absolutely insane level. I still think at this day, he's probably still like top 7 in the MVP race, which it seems like a low number, but it's LeBron James. So like people just think that like he's just trash now or he's gonna get trash soon. Like you got to understand he's not healthy. They have a bad their team's chemistry right now is bad, so it's gonna make LeBron look bad. But you got to look at it in a bigger picture. Like this is LeBron James. He's still averaging 27, 8 and 8.
It's hard to remember that too. Like when you watch him play, not LeBron specifically, but like the team. It's just so hard to watch. Oh yeah, and I think that contributes to people like getting down on LeBron. So before we move on, I want to ask you: do you think LeBron is still the best player in the NBA?
Well, okay. I'm gonna steal something from Stephen A. here because, like, yes, to answer that question, yes, I do think he's the best player in the NBA. But because he's not like 100% at this moment, I think, like if you go like right this second, no, I don't think he's playing better than like guys like Giannis or guys like Harden or Paul George. We'll get into those three later too. Mm-hmm. But I think like if you look at the big picture and you like, yes, I think LeBron James is still the best player in the NBA, but it doesn't show obviously. One last comment on LeBron here before we do move on. I think once he's 100%. I think there's no debate. He's the best player in the world. And I think once he gets into that playoff defensive mode, which takes too long for him, and that is a big point of criticism that needs to be brought up about him, is his defense is not good. He doesn't put effort,
and it
which
screws
is
the whole
which is a
team.
problem.
That's people have to rotate for him.
Yeah, exactly. Once he gets into that like playoff defensive mode, which should come way sooner, there's no excuse for it. But once he has that, and he's 100% healthy, no doubt the best player in the world. His team will start winning if the other guys get their heads out of their asses and stop being so worried about the trade deadline still, because that's another thing that's been happening. But all in all here, I do think the Lakers, LeBron will drag them into the playoffs at 80%, which is another reason why he is one of the best players of all time.
Okay. I agree. They will make the playoffs.
They should. I hope so. It's not likely, but I still think they will. But speaking of the Lakers, their rival, the Celtics, what the hell is going on with the Celtics?
It's actually quite simple what's going on, Anthony. They are a bunch of prima donnas that just cannot get it together.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like to diss Kyrie Irving because I really like him.
Yeah.
Not only as a player, but as a person. But I just think that he is just destroying that team from the inside. And I'm not saying it's his fault. He left Cleveland to be the guy, right? Yeah. But what he didn't understand after, obviously he got hurt and it's not his fault. Yeah. But once those guys got a taste of the limelight, Terry Rozier, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, once those guys got a taste, I could have told you that they were not going to fit back into their roles very easily. Because there's just not enough minutes and there's not enough basketballs. There's only one basketball in there. What is there, 48 minutes in a basketball game? Yeah. So there's just not enough time for everyone. And there's not enough touches for everyone. And when you've got that many good players, sometimes it just doesn't work. And I think that's kind of the case, especially with the melding of young and I guess quote old guys. Al Horford has fallen off this year. Not defensively. I think he's still pretty good defensively.
I have
but he's
a hot take when you're done with your opinion here. It's hot, but
obviously Gordon is not 100%, and they brought him back way too early. That's completely on management and Brad Stevens. Kyrie is playing like he's Kyrie.
He's Kyrie. He'll always be that guy.
Exactly. He's very consistent. Obviously, he had a bad game recently, but 7 points on I think 3 for 10. Was it 3 for 10 shooting?
Something like that. Yeah, it just hasn't looked good for them altogether.
It's just people don't know their roles. Once you get upgraded in a role, like Reggie Jackson, for example, this is a perfect example. When Reggie Jackson was on the Thunder, for people who don't know, Russell Westbrook got hurt. because I think it was because Pat Beverly dove at the ball at his ankle or something, and tore something.
Yeah.
And Reggie Jackson got the starting spot, and he played really well, just like Jason Tatum, just like
winning games. Yeah,
just like Jaylen Brown, just like Terry Rozier. Well, he then thought that he was better than Russell Westbrook, and he thought he deserved the starting spot. Obviously, that sounds ludicrous now, and it was then. But he demanded a trade because he thought that he was better than what they were valuing him at because he played really well. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what's going on. The exact same thing. These young guys think they're better than Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. I think they deserve more touches. They think they deserve, starting spots. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And they definitely do. But that's just not how it's going to work right now until either Kyrie's gone or they learn to fit in.
Yeah.
It's just team dynamics, man. You got to know your role. You have to if you want a good winning team.
I agree with that. And my hot take here, and my friends who I talk basketball with that isn't you can attest to this. I have been saying I think the Celtics are overrated. I think a lot of their players are overrated. I think Kyrie Irving
wait, hang on.
is the only superstar on the team by far. Nobody else on that team is even a star, in my opinion.
You have friends other than me?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah. I agree about Kyrie. He's definitely the only superstar on that team.
Here's like part of my hot take that like even my other friends, that I do have, but
go ahead. I know you're lying about the friends. You talk to yourself in the mirror, but it's fine. Go ahead.
They dug into me for this, but I think eventually Jason Tatum will be good. He will be a star, all-star. But I think right now he is severely overrated. I don't think he's even near that level that people think he is yet. And I think people think that he's already a star because of how he played in the playoffs last year. People think Jaylen Brown is already a star for how he played. He's also very overrated. I think Horford obviously fell off. He's overrated. Brad Stevens rushed Gordon Hayward into the freaking starting lineup when he was nowhere near ready. And he's just bad. No offense to Gordon Hayward. He's a nice guy. Everything.
I love Gordon Hayward. I'm so sad.
I know.
That he's not good
it's very sad. But he's not good. Terry Rozier is very overrated. I think the entire team is overrated, and I expected them to not be at the top of the Eastern Conference. I expected them to be a little higher. I think they do have talent, and all those guys have major potential. All the guys I just named have major potential, obviously besides Horford because he's on the lower part of his career. But I think they all have major potential, but I think everybody needs to pump the brakes on them and realize that they're all young, and all those guys got into the limelight and did good, and obviously can't take lesser roles right now. And I just think they are overrated at this particular moment. And I think in the future, if they keep the team together, which I don't think is going to happen, they could be a dynasty in the Eastern Conference easily.
Yeah.
But
they're just in their own way.
I just think, at this point right now, I think all these guys are just severely overrated because of how they played in the playoffs. And people who think that they should get rid of Kyrie and let all these young guys play,
foolishness.
It's just foolish. They went on a run. They had the momentum last year. That happens. That was great. And all those guys have that potential to do that, but they are not near that level yet, not even close. And people need to realize that instead of just blaming and pointing fingers at everybody. I think right now, the finger should be pointed at Brad Stevens because...
No, yeah, he's got to get... That's a huge deal. People aren't paying attention to that. They don't want to blame Brad Stevens because he's a good coach. He's a very good coach, but he's just... X's and O's guy.
Yeah.
He just got to get his team in order. That's on him. People blame Kyrie, but that's not Kyrie's problem.
Nowhere near.
Like, he wants to be the leader. I get it. He wants to be the man. He should do that. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. It's just not. Brad Stevens is the man in Boston.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. He needs to get a hold of his team.
He does.
He needs to figure out what's going on, and I can tell you what's going on. People don't know their roles.
Yes.
And he needs to tell them what he wants from them. You know, no one's asking... If Aaron Baines thought that he could just bomb three-pointers, like... Imagine, like, if he thought he was a star of the team, like, let's say Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not equating him to Aaron Baines, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, if Aaron Baines, who's a great role player, knows his role, that's why he's good. If he wasn't a great role player and he was like, thought he was Jahlil Okafor or something, and was like throwing up hook shots all game, then nobody would have him on their team. That's my point. You can't win when everyone thinks that they're more than they are.
Yep.
You just can't. Yep. And that's exactly kind of what's going on with the Pistons too.
Yep.
Is Reggie thinks he's more than he is.
Yep.
That they're just guys that are role players and they need to be. I'm not saying Jason Tatum's a role player. He's a future star.
He's a star, yeah.
But
not yet, but he will be.
And I think he's very good. And I was very high on him in the draft, even higher than I was on Lonzo, and I was very high on Lonzo. So I will just, end my side of the discussion by saying, Brad Stevens, you just have to sit your team down and just say, listen, this is what I want from you right now. There can be different things for you in the future. If you really, really, really have a problem with it and you don't want to work it out, see you later.
Yeah, I think his biggest mistake...
Get on the ship or jump off.
Yep. I think his biggest mistake was inserting Gordon Hayward in the lineup from game one. Because that Definitely. Right there, I think it's stupid that Jaylen Brown would let that get to him, but it was clear that him getting out of the starting lineup, it got to him, and that was huge because Jaylen Brown was key to their playoff run that they almost had last year into the finals after getting stopped by the greatest player in the world, LeBron James. But inserting Gordon Hayward into the starting lineup ruined the entire chemistry of the team because, one, he wasn't ready. He's not good at this particular moment.
If he was good, it wouldn't have been a problem. Exactly. I genuinely believe that if he was Gordon Hayward, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, he was not ready. People even said early into the season he was still having ankle pain. He was still having problems. They rushed him back, which was a bad decision. But then putting him in the starting lineup on a team that important, that good, a team that should be that good, coming out of the East, it ruined the whole chemistry of the team. Jaylen Brown got off is coming off the bench, and he didn't like that. Terry Rozier thought that he should have been getting more minutes starting. I don't know if you would think he should start over Kyrie. We never know. But, him not starting anymore, obviously, that ruined his demeanor, and then it's fallen apart. They're the 5th seed in the East right now when they're by far have one of the best teams on paper in the East. They should be a second seed,
That's super, super crazy to me. I hate to say I called it. I hate to be that guy, but I just had a feeling that they would not work. I just felt it. And I knew the Raptors were going to be, because Raptors are just so defensively solid. Mm-hmm. And I knew they were going to be. I knew, that Danny Green was a huge piece in that trade that nobody was paying attention to.
Yeah.
And I just... The Celtics have some issues to work out. The Raptors have figured it out. They're ready.
The Celtics will figure it out, I think, eventually. But the problem is,
this year.
I know that's the problem, is if Kyrie leaves and doesn't I'm going to get 76ers here right here, trust the process. If he doesn't trust the process with the Celtics, then it's not going to work out. But if he trusts it and stays there and let everything get worked out, that team will be a dynasty in the East. No team, when all those guys reach their potential, no team is going to come close to beating them. Not a single team in the East will come anywhere near that team. But all those guys are underdeveloped right now at this moment.
Except for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
Think about their starting lineup for a brief moment. Think about it.
You know who's a big surprise to me is, not necessarily a big surprise, but how good the Milwaukee Bucks are is crazy to me. I thought they'd be 4th, 5th seed. I thought they'd be where the Celtics are right now, a decent team in the East. They could make some noise. I knew Giannis was obviously a superstar, one of the best players in the world, but I didn't think all of the supporting cast that he has would be playing this good. Middleton, all-star this year. Bledsoe playing way better than he has before, finally found his role as that point guard.
That is what a good coach can do for your team.
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer's a great coach.
And people... they were so low on Mike Budenholzer for some reason. Everyone just thought that Atlanta Hawks team that was a number 1 seed was a fluke because they got destroyed in the playoffs
by LeBron.
Yes, but people don't realize their best players, Al Horford and Paul Millsap.
Literally,
that's no shag on Paul Millsap. And obviously they had other pieces.
Kyle Korver,
Damari Carroll was on that team, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a really good team.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a 2002 Detroit Pistons team.
Yeah,
everybody knew their role, and that's the key. Once Eric Bledsoe found his role, now look at him.
Yeah,
and Chris Middleton has been doing well, but he's not. He hasn't been as good as he has been previously.
They could come out of the East, man.
I think they will.
I know my opinion on who would come out of the East has been up in the air, and I've changed it.
I've always said Toronto.
Which I don't like doing. Yeah, but I've said Toronto before. I said Boston should find a way, but I truly don't think Boston will. I'm eliminating them from the equation at this point, honestly. Unless they figure it out near the end of the year. They could. You never know. My opinion could change again. I just go off what I see. And I think right now I see the Bucks making it to the finals, and I think Giannis will at least get a game or two out of the Warriors if they make it to the finals.
Yeah, nobody can stop that man. I'm sorry.
No, he's one of the most unstoppable players I've seen in my life.
And this is a perfect transition into who you think the MVP is going to be. Mm-hmm. Because I think it will definitely, I'm just going to come out and say it. It's going to be honest. But I think that, I just want to briefly say, While I think the MVP should be Paul George because of the way he's been playing with Russell Westbrook on his team, and I've given Westbrook a lot of shit, but he is figuring it out finally.
Yes,
he's
sir.
finally figuring it out.
I told you.
You thought he would. I did not think so.
I told you.
But I'm going to give you credit where credit's due. I don't think it'll last in the playoffs because Russ is Russ, and once Paul George has an off game, he's going to take over.
No, I'll agree. I'll agree with this for a second. I think if there's like a close game in the playoffs with the Thunder and like whoever they play,
Russ is just going to start chucking.
I really do think Russ could end up ruining their playoff chances, which kind of sucks. But I still think Russ is one of the best.
But he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's letting a superstar teammate shine, and he's doing all the things that he's good at. But he's letting his team. He's not getting in the way, which is exactly the issue that he had.
Imagine if he could play like that with KD, like in the playoffs. They would have won like 2 championships easily.
Yeah, but he's thick-headed.
Yeah.
What can I say?
He's
So I
getting
think
better.
Paul
He's getting
George should be the MVP just on that notion alone. He's playing like literally Jesus.
Yeah.
But he averaged like almost, like 45 or 50 points for last month in January.
Paul George, it was high 30s.
Absurd
I think.
number of points, maybe almost 40. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
you might be thinking of Harden, which we'll talk about here in a sec.
yeah, absolutely. But I think that for sure Giannis should be MVP. Like, although I believe that I keep repeating myself. I believe that Paul George should be MVP, but it will be Giannis, and Giannis deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with either of those options. I don't want Harden to win because he doesn't deserve it. His team is starting to play better now, but I don't think it's because of him. I think it's because people are finding the roles.
Yeah.
Chris Paul's getting, heating back up, getting back to Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And, Kenneth Faried.
Oh my God, yeah, Kenneth Faried. He's been balling.
The Manimal.
Yeah, I think Giannis is gonna win MVP. I think he does deserve it.
I think he's the best player in the world right now.
I think you do have to acknowledge what James Harden is doing, even though that their team is like what are they, like the 5th seed, 4th seed in the West, or something like that. But I do think you need to acknowledge the insane numbers he's putting up. But like,
and they're winning games. That's the biggest thing.
No, yeah, they're winning games.
If they weren't winning, I wouldn't say Giannis deserves it. But they're winning games.
All 3 of these guys, I think, deserve it. But I think Giannis deserves it the most because his team, they have the best record in the NBA. They have a better record than the Warriors currently. And like when you look at their roster, obviously these guys are playing good. But you look at the roster, they have Giannis, they have Chris Middleton, 2 All-Stars, and then everybody else is like not household names, not guys that you would think are as good as they are. Like obviously Bledsoe, people know Bledsoe, but all these other guys who have been balling out for them, like Malcolm Brogdon, guys like that, like the team that Giannis has that is the best team in the NBA right now currently is like crazy. So like, and he's putting up insane numbers. He's dominant. I think he should be the MVP.
It's another situation. They all know their roles, man.
George and Harden do got to get a shout out though because they're balling.
Definitely. Malcolm Brogdon, for example, is not chucking up shots. Mm-hmm. He's playing as he was the rookie of the year, wasn't he? He easily could be chucking shots and thinking he's better than he is and pouting when he's not getting enough touches, but he's
a professional. He's a professional.
Exactly. He's being a professional and fitting into his role. And I think that's super important when you're playing on a team with a star like, I almost called him LeBron. Giannis, who I think is better than LeBron currently. And for the future. Yeah, I think that he's usurped LeBron finally. He's averaging, 28, 13 and 6?
Something like that.
13 rebounds. 13 got my first.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up here for you.
Yeah, that's crazy numbers, and Shaq was right. He's deserving of the Superman cape.
Yeah,
I think that he's the best player in the world. Obviously he doesn't have a jump shot, but I think that's kind of working to his benefit.
Yeah, I was about to say it works for him, but he's starting to develop it a little bit. His his shooting numbers have been going up.
Away from the basket, I think that he just, I don't even know if he needs to develop a jump shot. I think it'd be nice for him to hit an open 3 or like a corner 3, but I don't think he should be pulling out from the 3 because I think that takes him out of the paint, which is where he's dominant.
I think he should develop a mid-range game. That would be crazy if he could learn like a little turnaround jump shot in someone's face. Like if he could, I just don't
want him to be like shooting when he should be driving and kicking.
Giannis,
if he can't get a bucket at the rim, he usually kicks to a 3. Yeah. But I think that he definitely is able to just get to the rack whenever. Yeah. And I don't think that a jump shot would be as conducive to that.
Yeah.
I think it would kind of take away from it a little,
Yeah. He's averaging 12 and a half rebounds and 6 assists a game.
6.9 assists, right?
No, 5.9 assists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yes, yeah, that's crazy. Crazy numbers. Absurd.
MVP.
Yeah, definitely MVP numbers. He deserves it. He's been on the cusp in the past, but having a great, and I like Jason Kidd, but having a great coach like Coach Bud just vaulted him over the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did.
Along with his physical development, of course.
Yeah.
He's under 25.
Getting rid of Jason Kidd, as sad as it sounds, might be the best thing that happened to them.
But he brought that passing out of him. He taught him how really. That was definitely a crucial step in his development.
They should have kept Jason Kidd around as like a player developmental coach instead of like their head coach, because he was good at developing their players, but he just couldn't put the right formula out on the court. He was a young coach. I mean, he's not going to know exactly what to do at some points. Yeah, but Mike Budenholzer has turned Giannis into I can't even put out a word, like a beast, a monster, a god. Like he's one of the best players in the world, and I think currently, besides like James Harden, obviously because of like the numbers, because of how the manner he's doing it in, I think he's playing as like the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like a fluke.
Not.
It's not
James
fluke numbers. It's not like somebody gets hot from shooting, and they're just shooting well, and they're like having an MVP. Like I'm not gonna say Paul George is just hot, and that's why he's in the MVP race. He deserves it.
Yeah,
but that's kind of he gets hot for a year. And some guys just get hot for a year, and then they're like just lighting stuff on fire.
Yeah.
And that's just not Giannis, because that can go away. Like someone can take your jumper away.
Yeah.
But you can't take away that kind of freakish athleticism. Like,
oh yeah,
the only thing that can take that is an injury.
Yeah.
And I'm praying that he doesn't get injured, because I love watching him play.
Yeah. Besides LeBron, he's easily my favorite player.
Who's gonna stop? Like, who is gonna stop that man at the rim? Like who?
No one.
He's so strong now. Like it's just crazy.
Lakers play the Bucks. I think it's tonight, or it might be soon. But I'm just curious to see how LeBron's going to try to defend him. I just want to see the way LeBron's been playing defense has been terrible.
That's the key. He's not going to defend him.
I just want to see what he tries to do. I just want to see
someone
how
else
it looks.
is going to be trying to defend him. And let's say LeBron does get matched up on him in some fluke world that doesn't exist.
They'll probably throw JaVale on him, honestly.
He's just not going to defend. He's just going to blow right by him every play. Giannis is just going to blow right by him. There's nothing LeBron can do.
Yeah, that's like, to go back to LeBron for like 1 second, that's like a thing with his injury. Like I said, I don't think he's 100%. And I think watching him try to shuffle is like part of it that makes it seem like he's not 100%. Because like there is times,
Dirk out there.
Yeah, there is times I do see him give effort, but his just like lateral quickness trying to shuffle is not as good as you would imagine, and I think that's because of a groin injury. He still gets up, he still jumps as high as LeBron James would, but I just think his lateral quickness kind of dwindled a little bit because of that injury, and I think
it might be permanently dwindled. That's the scary part.
I hope not. I give it till next year. I mean, like I said, I still think they'll make the playoffs, but I think next year he'll prove everybody wrong that he's still the best player in the world, and he'll snap and he'll look great. That's what he does. He puts in more training hours than like anybody I could ever imagine. And I think that'll get him to 100% eventually. That's enough about LeBron, though. Yeah. Speaking of LeBron-like players, though,
Blake Griffin.
Zion Williamson. You think so if you're like Zion Williamson himself, after blowing your foot through
a shoe. Let's do some context here, right? Just in case people haven't noticed. Zion was tearing it up. Being Zion, doing Zion things, dunking on people, getting rebounds, swatting shots into the fourth row.
Yeah.
And then he, apparently the story is, he was playing in the same shoes for several weeks, or several games, if you want to put it that way. And he blew right through his shoe.
Right through the shoe.
Paul George's shoe, ironically.
Yep.
Which I am wearing right now. I'm wearing Paul George.
I have never in my life seen someone blow through their shoe to that degree. I've seen like NBA players in like funny little like videos where like they pop their toe through the front. Or like they pop their foot out and it looks funny. They don't get hurt, obviously. But he literally blew straight through his shoe.
Right through the stitching on the side.
Right through it.
Right where the sole meets like the midsole meets the like actual fabric of the shoe. He blew right through the stitching.
And he got hurt while doing it. So imagine how much pressure he had to put on that one foot to blow right through it to where he buckled his knee.
What is he, 290?
Something like that, 285.
This is why college players need to be able to have shoe deals.
Oh, yeah.
Because a big man like Zion that can do the things he can do should not be wearing a Paul George shoe. Like,
No.
he needs his own custom-built shoe for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're just looking at that purely objectively and not looking at the other arguments for college players not getting paid but getting endorsement deals, that is a huge argument that Zion Williamson he just needs his own shoe, man. He just needs to be catered to.
I think he
'Cause
needs
those
the-
big old feet and doing the things that no one does that. No one can do that.
Pretty much, yeah. I think he needs to slim down a little bit too. I mean, I don't know if that's the reason why he blew through his shoe.
If
but
he's still that fast, I think he doesn't need.
I think just
He can
maybe
jump that
I think
high.
he needs to get a little. He needs to cut just a little bit because he could end up getting injured. I think is what the problem is because he's so heavy. I think if he like cuts down to like a healthy like light like 260, 270, and he'll be even faster probably. He'll be able to jump. I don't even know if he can jump higher than he already can. I don't know if that's even possible.
No, it's not.
But he'll be at that same. He'll be the exact same. He'll just be lighter to avoid an injury. Is what I just think. Maybe like a good 10, 20 pounds of that fat because I'm sure there's some fat on that big man. He's huge. I think he just needs to cut down a little bit to avoid injury. But with that being said, if you're Zion or like Duke, would you shut yourself down for the season?
All right, so I'm going to separate what I think should happen, what I would do,
Okay.
right? Because I think that
I think he already said he's going to come back though, but I'm just asking what you would do.
I would come back because if it was me, I committed to the school, I committed to my friends, you know, to RJ and Cam, namely. I've already committed to them, and I've already committed to the program that I'm going to play a full season and go for that championship, right? So I would come back, but that's my growing up in the 2000s football machismo mode. I probably would have still played on that sprained knee, but it's very. What are you doing? It's very important to me that I come back and play. Like that is just the camaraderie of the team. That's just what I would do. But if, I think Zion should sit. I think he should say, peace, guys. I'm sorry, but I cannot risk my future financial situation, on a college championship that I might not even win.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're not getting paid. Like, that's millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And, he's going to get paid, what is it, like $8 or $9 million for the number one pick in the draft? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
a year.
I think so.
Let's say, his contract for 4 years is $50 million. Let's just throw a number out, right?
Yeah.
Or like, maybe less, $40 million, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not where his money's going to come from. It's going to come from the massive, unheard of rookie shoe deal that he's going to sign.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to come from.
Maybe he'll sign the Big Baller brand.
Maybe. Triple B's on the man. Level up and Super Saiyan.
Also, very, very similar to yours. I would, if I'm Zion myself, because of the competitiveness that I have in my heart, I would come back too. Because like I said, or like you said, you committed to the school. That team obviously has a huge chance to win the national championship if all three of those guys are together and healthy, which not many college players get to do these days, is win a national championship. So,
right.
Yeah, I'd come back too, but the smart thing to do is to sit out, to not risk anything.
Yeah, that's safe.
What if you come back in March Madness? You're going hard. You're not about to pump the brakes on your play because you got injured earlier. You're going to go as hard as you do, make all the same cuts you do, jump as high as you do. You can get hurt at any point during that. So imagine, the Sweet 16 or something or whatever, any part of the March Madness, you get hurt and it's a major injury. You just hurt your draft stock maybe a little bit, or you don't get to play your first year, and it's just not a good idea. But yeah, whatever. He's going to come back. He's going to dominate probably. We just hope he can't get injured and hope he stays healthy.
I think that it's important to Zion that obviously they have a chance at being the best college basketball team of all time in a lot of people's eyes.
Oh, yeah.
They have a chance of usurping, well, at least the best starting five, whatever. They have a chance of achieving that Fab Five level of fame.
Mm-hmm.
Their games are selling out. They're going for ridiculous prices. Barack Obama attended one of their games.
Yeah. The game that Zion got hurt?
that he blew through his shoe.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. Yeah, but I mean, if you just think about it that way, I would come back just on those parameters. You have a chance of being considered the best college basketball team of all time.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. Let's say you do nothing in the pros. Let's say he flops completely, which is impossible. But let's say he completely flops in the pros. He has that. He has that Fab Five level. Jalen Rose always talks about being on the Fab Five,
Yeah.
Even though he was pretty good in the pros, but not very good. Not like a superstar.
None of those guys were superstars besides Chris Webber.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you consider him a superstar.
I do. I definitely consider him a superstar.
Perennial all-star, but he was never like face of the franchise, going to bring you to a championship type of player, you know?
I mean, I think he would have brought him to a championship if he didn't get screwed.
By a ref and by Lakers.
By multiple refs. And them insisting that the Lakers make the finals. But, we won't talk about that on this podcast.
Yeah, that'll be something for another day. Yeah. A special
conspiracy
podcast, yeah.
We'll have Alex Jones on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a joke. We will not
have
Alex Jones
That's enough for basketball today.
Well, I have a couple more things I want to talk about.
Oh, go ahead, man. I'm ready.
I wanted to talk about Blake Griffin.
Let's talk about him. Yeah, let's talk about the Pistons for a second, actually. Go ahead. What you got to say?
Well, I just want to briefly state that he has been a complete boon to our team. And for people that don't understand that old-timey word that I have no business using, he is like a godsend to us. I really am so happy we acquired him in that trade. And he's putting up good numbers. And he's trying out there, and that's all that really matters. You just got to try in the world of sports.
Exactly.
And he's having fun, putting in effort. I really just wish we were a little bit better outside of Blake, but I think that if we continue to build around him, then we're going to be good.
We need to get like established defenders and shooters. And like I said, I love Andre Drummond. I love him. I'll be a fan of him wherever he goes, but he just needs to go. He just doesn't fit. They have been playing good since the All-Star break. Them two have been looking good together, but I just think in the long run, you're not going to win anything with both of those guys. But I do think, depending on who they face in the playoffs, if they move up a little more, if they keep balling, they can make some noise in the playoffs. They could get past like the first round. Noise meaning the first round.
Yeah, depending on who they match up against. I mean, we're still looking for that Nets Pacers matchup. I really want to see that.
Can't wait.
But actually, that might be a good series, to be honest. It's going to just be a bunch of role players going at it, which is fantastic. Cool. But
the Pacers lost Oladipo, and you would think that they would start to move down the list, but they've been balling.
Miles Turner's been stepping up.
Yeah.
So I think the Pistons could easily be. I think it's going to be the Pistons versus the Pacers, but I'm not 100% sure that'll happen. But I'm just saying that would be an awesome series to watch.
Yeah,
for old time's sake.
2-3 games out of the 6th seed from the Nets. So I mean, if they get to the 6th seed and the Pacers stay somewhat consistent and stay at that 3rd seed, which I don't think will happen, though. I don't know. I think the Pistons will end up staying at the 7th seed and play the Raptors in the first round and lose in
I'm gonna
4
cry.
or 5. But I think if they find a way to end up playing the Pacers, I think they'll win that series in 6 games, honestly, because who in their right mind on the Pacers is going to stop Drummond and Griffin? Every time Drummond plays Miles Turner, it's an automatic 20-20 game. He absolutely Sorry, Miles. He destroys you every time they play each other, and no one on that team is going to stop Griffin. Who is Domantas Sabonis going to stop him? Come on,
dude! Don't underrate Domantas Sabonis.
He's a monster, but he's not stopping Blake Griffin. He's too skinny.
You're right.
Blake Griffin's a monster.
So what I think we should do, as far as the episode goes, I think we should end it here. And just have this as our nice little basketball episode, and we'll upload a second episode for wrestling.
Yes.
So that way, we can split it up, and people who just want to listen to wrestling can listen to wrestling, and people who just want to listen to basketball can listen to basketball.
Yeah, because we like to listen to our fans, There's been a lot of people who've been saying, oh, we just skip right to the NBA part, or there's been some WWE fans saying, we just skip right to the WWE parts. So we're just sometimes, not all the time, but we're going to split our episodes with one topic.
Right.
Or one sport to the next sport, so...
just general sports, and then split it to a wrestling podcast. Because obviously we're very passionate about wrestling.
Yeah.
We're very passionate about sports too, and basketball mainly. But we want to make sure that we're providing a fair amount of time to each individual sport, and we're making sure this episode's already 45 minutes long, which is a beautiful time to end it.
Beautiful.
And I don't think we'd be able to do justice to wrestling and without having an hour and 45-minute podcast,
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in.
Oh, yeah. Buy a T-shirt. Tell them the link again, Dom. Go ahead. I forgot it.
It's going to be teespring.com/Hellsgate Podcast.
Yep.
We're going to have more merch than just T-shirts on there.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure by the release of this episode we will, but go buy a T. If you like the show and you're not really supporting the show because we're offering to you guys at cost, because we just want we think it's cool that we have T-shirts, honestly, and we just want people to wear them.
Yeah,
so
support us.
If you want to buy a T-shirt, you're not supporting us monetarily because we're literally making 2 cents on the T-shirts, but you're supporting us in our hearts, and you're supporting people are going to see the T-shirt and be like, maybe I should check that out.
It means a lot more than you can ever imagine.
Starter. Yeah. If we catch you wearing one of our T-shirts, I might cry. I might cry right in front of you. You're getting
a huge hug. You might get a kiss.
Yeah, I might give you a smooch. You never know. So thank you guys again for supporting us and staying with us and buy your T-shirts.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, we're sorry that we haven't been able to get too many episodes out. Our availability in the studio has been very, very limited due to some problems with our professor. We're not going to go into that, obviously, but
circumstances that we just can't.
Just can't control. Yeah, so we're just going to try our hardest to get in here whenever we can.
And we're working on the reason we don't have our home studio yet is because
money.
It's just very expensive to start it up. To get all the equipment that we want. We don't want to do it right, like we're doing. We have a nice studio in here.
Oh yeah.
We want to do it right. We want a partially soundproof space to do it, so there's not a lot of distracting noise.
Mm-hmm.
And we need a good, solid location to do it, and we just don't have it yet, so we haven't invested in the equipment.
We're working on it.
But it's coming. It's on the way. So
just stay with us.
If you stick with it,
we love you.
We're blowing up. We have T-shirts now.
Oh yeah.
We're on Spotify and iTunes. We're big time. So
big time.
Greatest podcast in the world. We're just people are figuring it out.
Go tune into our WWE episode coming very soon as well. We appreciate you guys.
And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do that
right now.
Because that's where a majority of our listeners are coming from at this very second. I assume that's subject to change, but let's definitely get it bracking.
Let's go. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you again for tuning in, and we're probably gonna be uploading the second episode, the wrestling episode, on the same day.
Yeah.
So tune into that.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you guys again.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate the listen, and go share us some. Thanks.